everybody, welcome to OrnaBakes. Today we're making Crunchies, which are traditional South African oatmeal cookie bars. Imagine an oatmeal cookie meets a granola bar and they fall in love. Your kids will love making them with you. This recipe of mine has been shared and pinned over 80,000 times. That's how many I know of. And so I'm finally getting to make a video for you today. So I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please share it with everyone you know, and especially me, let me know if you've made it and send me pics. Preheat your oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and I use convection bake, but if you don't have convection, that's fine. Next we're going to spray, this is a half sheet pan. I'm going to spray it with some canola spray. It doesn't matter what kind of spray you use because you're not going to taste it anyway. And then line your cookie sheet with parchment. Next you want to melt your butter and syrup. I love Kerrygold butter because it's grass-fed cows and the flavor is amazing. And also I always use unsalted butter because then you can control the salt level in your recipes and it tastes much fresher. Trader Joe's has a great price on this. So the traditional way of making these is using syrup, which has a wonderful caramelly flavor. If you can't find syrup, I've made it many times with honey, and honey is also delicious. But if you can find the syrup, if you're in the States, in America, you can find it at any specialty food stores, or you can get it online. I'll include the link below. Just microwave it together in a bowl for about a minute or so. I like cutting the butter up into pieces so it melts more evenly, and then set aside to cool for 5 minutes. The best, easiest way to measure and the cleanest is to use a kitchen scale. Set your bowl on top of the scale and you zero it out, and we're going to measure out 4 cups of oats. You're going to use regular oats, not quick cooking. And we're just going to pour in that 326 grams, and you just toss it into your bowl, or as we say in South Africa, gooi. Next we have 3 cups or 256 grams of unsweetened shredded coconut. I like using Bob's Red Mill coconut. Just make sure it's not sweetened and it should be fine. So if you get the one from Trader Joe's, I would blitz it a bit, otherwise they'll be too clunky and chewy. Add 1 1/4 cups or 150 grams of all-purpose flour, or I love using white whole wheat flour, which actually has 100% whole wheat, so all the benefits of the wheat, but it doesn't have a strong wheat flavor, so it works perfectly in this recipe. You can get that at Trader Joe's too. Add 1 1/4 cups or 242 grams of granulated sugar. That's just good old sugar. And then we have 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I do not like to bake with iodized salt because it has a bitter taste. So I always bake with fine sea salt, or kosher salt would be fine too. Get all of that in there. And salt is not going to make it salty, but it will definitely bring out the flavor. So don't forget that, especially if you're using unsalted butter. Next we have 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Now all of the traditional recipes called for dissolving the baking soda in milk, which I found a little annoying, or some of them even call for adding it to the butter and syrup mixture and it froths up and it's a whole big mess. It's not necessary these days. You just pour it right in with all your dry ingredients. We've got 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I love cinnamon. Really the easiest way to mix this is to put on a good old glove. I get these from Costco with the medicines actually. Make sure to incorporate everything really well. Now I'm going to add 1/4 cup of milk. If you're making these dairy free, you can use margarine. I really don't like margarine, but you can feel free to use that. Or you can use coconut oil. It's still delicious with coconut oil. And then instead of the regular milk, you can use almond milk or you can use oat milk. And next we just add our cooled buttery syrupy goodness. These are so delicious and they're really good for you too, and especially if you add some of my optional mix-ins. The one that I've included in the recipe is sunflower seeds, so we're gonna at this point add 3/4 of a cup of sunflower seeds. You could use regular raw ones or toasted, doesn't really make a difference. And you can also add some other nutritious mix-ins or superfoods, I like to call some of them. You can add 1 to 2 tablespoons of quinoa, white quinoa. You can add sesame seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds. It makes it more like a granola bar than a traditional cookie, but still absolutely delicious. So experiment. Try some dried fruit. You can try dried cranberries, dried cherries. Now I'm just going to pour this in and then just spread it out. Just push it down and flatten it. You're compacting it so they don't come apart. Or rolling pin. But it really is not necessary. Put them in the oven that's been preheated to 325 degrees. Convection bake if you have it, or regular is fine. And you're going to set your timer for 30 minutes. 30 minutes. And then I'm going to set a second timer for 15 minutes. It's been 15 minutes and I'm going to check on our Crunchies. Oh, look how gorgeous these are. Now see how they're getting quite brown already? They're getting golden. So we don't want these to get any more brown. So I'm going to put them on top of another baking sheet very carefully because we don't want bottoms to burn, and cover them loosely with foil. And then I'm also rotating it. And back another. Our Crunchies have been cooling on a cooling rack for 15 minutes. And now we're going to cut them with a serrated knife. I love these steak knives from Victorinox that I get online. You can cut them into whatever size you like, really. It smells so good. So we cut the first half of these Crunchies after they've been cooling for 10 to 15 minutes. And now we're going to cut the rest of them after about 30 to 40 minutes, and so we can compare. So these were a little crumbly to cut, and now we're going to cut the rest of them and see how it is. Most of the recipes say to cut them while they're still warm. I disagree. See how much easier it is to cut them now when they're cool. Here you can pop them in the freezer for another 10 minutes and that'll make them really easy to cut. But I understand that not everybody has a lot of freezer space to put a tray of cookies. There you have it. Beautiful Crunchies.